What's going on, Jerome's beautiful Monday, and mercifully, we are 10 days away from the 2025 NFL Draft, and just had some thoughts about the draft overall. All right, so I know that the experts and the prognosticators, they see this draft as a quote-unquote down draft, right? So it's certainly not as exciting as last year. 6 quarterbacks in the top 12 picks, including Jonathan James McCarthy, a future franchise quarterback of the Minnesota Vikings. Woo! And it's not the flash and dash type draft either, right? Because the wide receiver class is short on star power, but it's pretty deep. And it feels like that's this entire draft class as a whole. Because, yeah, you do have the stars at the top. You have Travis Hunter, you have Cam Ward, you have Shador Sanders, you have Abdul Carter, etc. But it isn't the star-studded top 15 name brand over and over class, right? And it sort of flies in the face of everything that would be exciting about the draft. But I actually think that this is a really fun draft because, so we said picks 15 through 70 are relatively close. It might be picks 15 through 100 because there are going to be some very good players selected day 2 and early day 3 that are going to be consistent starters in the NFL. And I know that's not really sexy, having your second guard or second defensive tackle or cornerback 2 or wide receiver 3 or off-ball linebacker / special teams captain. That's not sexy. That's not box office, but it's really important for team building. And even though the Vikings don't have a ton of draft picks in this class, I still think that even with 1, 3, 5, and 6, they could still certainly come away with some immediate starters and contributors. That's what it is, even with a stacked roster. But overall, I feel like this draft class could be fun. All right, so it does seem to be Cam Ward locked in at 1-1 to the Tennessee Titans. That means that Will Levis is going to be available. And I'm worried because never discount, hey, that guy played well against the scouting, so the Vikings might make a little trade ski for Will Levis because he threw that fluke-ass touchdown to Westbrook-Ikhine against the Vikings last year. It's possible. But Travis Hunter may be the most intriguing player in this draft. And beyond just him being a two-way player, he's a legit two-way player. Like Travis Hunter, if you focus on being a cornerback, he would probably be a top 5 corner eventually down the line. If he's stuck with receiver, I think that the Amon-Ra / Garrett Wilson comps are pretty damn good. So either way, he could be a star at his respective position. Now, selfishly, if I was a team, I want him to play corner because shutdown corners, especially cornerback ones who travel and go belt buckle to belt buckle with wide receiver ones, are much harder to find. If I'm Travis Hunter, I'm going receiver because wide receiver 2s are getting paid $20 million a year. So imagine what Travis Hunter is going to garner in a couple of years, right? Even though cornerbacks get paid, they don't get paid like wide receivers. So I think that Hunter should go the receiver route, but we'll see. I think what's probably more likely to happen is that he'll be a full-time corner and have certain packages at receiver and it'll be like certain crunch time that he'll be on the field as a receiver, fourth quarter, all that stuff, right? Shador Sanders might be the most polarizing player in this draft. And Shador, I think that he, obviously a tough kid, played behind some really bad offensive lines. I think he delivers an accurate and catchable ball, which is extremely underrated. Does he have the strongest arm in the world? No. But you know who else doesn't have the strongest arm in the world? Joe Burrow. And those comps are pretty frequent. So Sanders, I've discussed my stance on Shador before. I don't like the showing off of the watch as you just barely beat NDSU. I don't know, but I feel like there is a swagger, there is a chip on the shoulder, there is I feel like obviously he's a kid of privilege, but he tries to buck that. He tries to prove himself because he's got to. It feels like he has to do more because he is Deion's son, right? Because he does come from privilege, because he has had assistance and help at every single step of the way. It's almost like he has to prove himself. And I do like that, right? But I feel like maturity issues is too much of a blanket statement. I don't think that's it. I think that he is a mature kid. I think that he does love to talk ish, but that the modern generation? And old man yells at cloud. You have to get used to it. But I think Sanders could be a really solid leader, man. I think that he could be a quarterback one somewhere. But if he doesn't go top 3 with either the Browns at 2 or the Giants at 3, I think that he could tumble, because I think the Saints are going to pass on taking a quarterback. I really do. I think the Saints see their situation. We got to get out of this cap hell. We got to ride things out. We have Spencer Rattler on Rooster. Let's just do that. Let's go 0-17, and we will go from there. Because this roster is so far from competing in any way, shape, or form. And the Saints, if the Saints drafted Shador, I think that they would ruin him. Because they have nothing. They have absolutely nothing. So I think the smart thing would be tank, clean up their salary cap situation, get the number 1 pick, take Arch Manning as he returns to New Orleans. He went to high school, same high school as Peyton and Eli, and of course Archie Manning, quarterback of the Saints. They are literally New Orleans royalty. Do that. Just do that up. All right. Also, Ashton Jeanty. Where's he going to go? Now, I think his floor is 10 to the Bears. I don't think he gets to 12 to Dallas, although that would be a pretty easy-peasy fit. But I would love to see running backs being great again, right? Jeanty 4 to the Patriots, Jeanty 5 to the Jaguars, Jeanty 6 to the Raiders. Because remember when running backs used to be the top 5 picks? What was it? Cadillac Williams, Ronnie Brown back in the day? That was good, man. Ricky Williams, Mike Ditka trading up the farm to go get him. It's funny, man. But I do think that even though this is a very racked up and stacked up running back class, and as we talked about, it's like having 2 running back classes in one. And there's certainly stars at the top in Ashton Jeanty, as well as I think Amari Hampton is going to be a first-round pick. I think that the sleeper for Hampton is 12 to Dallas. Yeah. And Scadaboo's in there, Caleb Johnson, Trevin Henderson, Quishon Judkins. So, I mean, there's a lot of star running backs in this class, but it's almost like the amount of them are going to push down their value, because teams may look to address other needs in the draft. We'll get a running back later. And there will be several running backs in this draft class that go undrafted that would have been mid-round picks in normal years. Would have been 4th, 5th, 6th round picks. So I think that guys like Taj Brooks from Texas Tech, Kyle Monangai from Rutgers, Donovan Edwards, Michigan, Jordan James, Oregon, LaQuint Allen from Syracuse, Ja'Cory Krosky-Merritt from Arizona, Arizona for 1 game. I think those guys, obviously very talented, Jaquindon Jackson from Arkansas, but they might go undrafted because that's how deep this position group is. That's just how it is sometimes. And then you look at the cornerback room, right? So beyond Travis Hunter, who's in just a stratosphere by himself, you do have this nice band of corners. So Will Johnson, Jahdae Barron probably going to be going in the teens at some point. And then you got Ravel Amos, Maxwell Hairston, Ben Morrison, Darian Porter, Azrae Thomas, that are going to be late first round. Maybe they sneak in there, or a top of the second round type guys. And they're going to be super duper talented, right? And I think the Vikings, especially if they do trade down, could certainly partake in corner, right? And then, the rest of it. So this is such a weird scattershot draft, but I love it. Like I love the weird drafts, where it's not the star power one. This is a pure meat and potatoes draft. This is a team building draft. And we always talk about how when you're building foundation, you need the bricks, but you need the mortar as well, because otherwise what holds the bricks in place? This is a mortar draft, right? And it's going to be fun. Like guys like Mason Graham, guys like Armand Membu, the tackle from Mizzou, Will Campbell from LSU. Does he fall because he's got short arms and a small wingspan? Well, no, short arms and a large wingspan. One of the two. Heidi Campbell, do teams see him as a true off-ball, or is it going to be an edge? Same thing with Jalon Walker as well. Mike Green, he's undersized, but pound for pound brings it. Donovan Malachi Starks. God. This is going to be a really fun draft. Also, does anyone get, like, the quarterback tax is real? And even though this is not a great quarterback class, let's just call it what it is. Do teams make Jackson Dart from Mississippi or Jalen Milroe from Alabama, do they make them first-round picks? Because they probably shouldn't be. But you see this over and over. There's such a demand for quarterbacks, but the supply can't keep up. And that's what happens. And frankly, if I'm the Vikings at 24, I want as many quarterbacks to go as possible, because that means that one more talented player gets pushed down to us. And either stick and pick at 24, trade down, get some value, and all that is coming in. But it's such a weird, fun draft, but I'm here for it, man. It's going to be good times. But that's it. A little overview of the 2025 NFL Draft. Let us know your thoughts, our thoughts, comment section. You guys are the best. You know what to do. Skol, some production value.